Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be going over what I believe the next LR will be. I'm pretty sure next week we should be getting our LR, which is pretty cool. Because our last LR was helping, which was okay. He wasn't an on-field LR, but he was a crazy fairy backline character, which is sort of decent still. I'm still okay with it as long as they're usable and not just like a throwaway LR, because as long as we do get throwaway LRs, Galland, Zeldris, Rimuru is a crazy throwaway. They could have done some really good stuff with Rimuru and they completely screwed over. Most other LRs have got some sort of use or had some sort of use at some point in their life, in their cycle. We'll go through races, we'll see what we're going to be. Demon, I don't realistically see us getting another Demon or another Commandment or anything like that. At least for a little while, because we have just been given just a spam of demons at the moment, which I don't think will continue for very long. I reckon we'll probably have a meta change, whether that be unknown or might try to bring back fairies, because fairies petrified is actually still quite powerful. Next race, giants, yeah, quite easily I reckon giants could get one, but I feel like if they do get one it will have to be a Matrona or a Droll. It won't be a Diane, because once again we recently got, you know, we not only do we already have an LR Diane, but we've also got King and Diane. And it won't be a Scardy because we recently got a Scardy, and normally they don't like to release, let's just say, a new character, then immediately release an LR version of that character. So realistically, I reckon it'd be probably a Matrona, preferably blue, because blue's got 2 attacks. And they can change this to include PvP if they really wanted to. Relic already works in PvP, but yeah, they can change some stuff up to make a Mono Giants team work, and I reckon it would actually perform pretty well. They don't have a backline at the moment, unless they do a draw, and then technically they do have a backline, it's just they don't have a semi-working passive. They could go for someone like Green Matrona, who actually wouldn't be too bad of a backline. Passive doesn't work, none of the Matrona's passives work in the backline, but her passive is definitely the better one to have in the back than the rest of them. She's got a taunt, she's got old gauge removal, she applies damage reduction turn 1, you got the, you heal if you're debuff, I think 20% of your max health, which is crazy, and she still shares the same relic, she still gets 20% basic stat boost, which is pretty good. Droll, his relic isn't the best, it decreases allies damage taken by 5% for each buff on the hero, which I guess technically could be quite useful, especially with this commandment. I just feel like, if any of them, I prefer it to be green over blue. I don't want to see it, oh, not that. That's a Diane. Where's Droll? Here he is. I just don't want it to be this blue Droll. I just feel like Petrify, I understand, is a very, you know, King and Diane have it, so if another one has it, it sort of feels a little bit like the Fairy team, but I want a little bit more, like, variety with the characters. You know, I don't want constant Petrify, I want, you know, another giant DPS that I can rely on. I feel like Droll is definitely a good candidate for that. You know, he's got a Detonate skill, which can do quite a bit of damage. He's got a buff and debuff a skill, disable one, which technically they could put an effect on it and it'd still be quite useful. His passive disables ultimates. Technically, it's still very useful, and they could, you know, they can rewrite entire passives for LRs. So the passive isn't really my problem here. LR Lily is probably the best example of that. She still kept bits of her old kit, but she lost 90% of her old kit, 99% even, which is fine. On to the next race, which is humans. No, we've got Brynhild. Still, I think it's a little bit too early to be getting another one. I don't see anyone who really needs an LR at the moment, at least that I can think of. Like Mono maybe, but it won't be an Easton because they're releasing another Easton as our next character. It's going to be this Easton, so it'll be Easton of Authority, and it'll be whatever the new one is. It'll be blue, she'll be blue. That's all we know at the moment. And now on to fairies. No, we recently had a fairy. We went through a wave of getting absolutely spammed with fairy characters from about, I believe, April until, well, whenever LR Helgrim came out, which was quite a while. It was quite a bit of time. It was about 2, pushing 3 months, basically, of just fairies. Goddesses, yeah, I definitely see Goddesses possibly getting an LR. If so, Red Tarmiel, Blue Tarmiel, or like Red Sariel, not this one, but the old one. I definitely see them being the best options. Green or Blue Ludo, I still wouldn't be opposed to it, even though I guess technically we do have an LR Ludo, as it is, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. In a late, even Green or late, I reckon could produce a decent LR. But from what I would prefer the most, Red Sariel, a blue Tarmiel or red Tarmiel. Like red Tarmiel would be a really good one to do, because what it would do would be like, okay, so it'll probably actually be one of the most impactful LRs you could get, because the basic stats would work on any character you put him on as a Link, because he'd be an LR and you'd have even more CC, which would be really handy, because 99.9% of the teams, or basically every player, uses Red Tamio, right? Because why not? It's healing, you can disable the enemy if they attack you 2 times and you still live, which is crazy. And I feel like it would be a good dilemma to have on the Goddess team. It's like, okay, do you use him as a Link on like Mael or Melee Liz, or do you use him on the front? You know, if they give him a good enough passive, maybe give him like a semi-decent like damage reduction or a healing passive, make him quite a good on-field support character, maybe make his single target quite a bit DPS, his buff, you know, has a cleanse on it as well, why not? Add a cleanse to it, especially with the debuff spam with the demons at the moment. I thought that could be pretty good. Blue Tommy once again has old gauge control and a stance. I think Red Sora would be the best one overall, because he's got 2 damaging skills, his relic isn't too bad, his passive is quite decent. His skills would actually probably work really well. Power Strike and Sever already, so when they get an LR, let's just say they give him Sever and Pierce Ray, and then Power Strike and Cleave, or whatever they want to give him, you know, to make him even better. I feel like Red Sora would definitely be probably the best candidate from the Goddess category. And then on to unknowns, pretty obvious, it's Gowther. It's the only one I really see deserving of an LR from this category, and it would have to be, I'll just type in Gowther. We'll have a look at all the Gowthers. In my opinion, have to be this one. It would have to be the Festal Gowther. I feel like he's the one that I do see being the most impactful. Not only has he got a crazy good relic, which goes everywhere, same with his passive, which is quite decent, but he's got level 2 seal, he's got buff seal, he's got all gauge depletion, his ultimate deletes all skills, and they could definitely do a lot of really cool stuff with this Gowther. Of course, if not, any of these two aren't too bad either. Oh, not that one. Green or red aren't bad. Of course, red's the OG one, the one with attack disable, upgrade. He wouldn't be too bad as well. I wouldn't see... I think maybe attack would be really good for this meta. Maybe that is the reason why, if this Gowther does get an LI, it'll be for that reason. Because currently, if you're running the Demon team, which is currently the most meta team in the game, you've only got attack skills, which means if you get attack sealed, you can't play anything, which is crazy. And then the reason I see like green Gowther, he's got old gauge control, upgrade, maybe a Sins team, or to sort of promote multiple different race teams. 35% attack related stat boost is crazy. Imagine when he gets an LR, they boost all that kind of stuff. You know, the relic is pretty mid, but his relic came out at the time where Gowther was meta, so releasing a really broken relic for him as well would have been stupid. I do think, in my opinion, his relic needs a little bit of an overhaul. I know it'd be the first time they ever do it, but a 10% basic stat boost that requires you to play 10 skills from Gowther, so Gowther has to play 10 skills just for your allies to get a 10% basic stat buff. I feel like is a little bit iffy. It doesn't work in demons, and it doesn't work in PvP, so where is it meant to work? Most demonic beasts have it so if you play an upgrade skill, they get like 1,000% basic stats or 1,000% all stats, so you can't run him there. So I would like to see this maybe get slightly overhauled. Maybe make it 5%, maybe up to 3 or 4 times, so you can get 20% basic stat boost for your team, which I think would be pretty good. Remove the restrictions from it as well, that'd be pretty nice as well, so if you use it with like demons, because I know like, I still actually use Gowther in demons sometimes, but most people don't use Gowther in demons. But he's a really good character, and it brings back nostalgia. I would like to see Gowther back in there. It was fun. He lasted quite a while, but yeah. This Gowther's my number one though. I find this one will be really good. Really good relic. Not tied to race or characteristic, which is huge nowadays because most characters are tied to race or characteristic. If he gets an LR, or if any character gets an LR, realistically they are sadly going to have some form of restriction on them, whether that be through their race or through a characteristic or so on the lines of that. But anyway, that's it. I just want to make a video going over what I believe the next LR could be. Of course, if we are getting an LR next week, we will find out on Monday with the Day 3 hint. If they are going to give us a hint, there are times where they've just not given us a hint. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.